So can you just help us?
Good evening, guys. Are you able to hear me? Okay. Today I'm here to talk about basics of some drone technology and piloting skills and what is it required to become a certified drone pilot and how do you take it forward as drone piloting, probably as a career. How do you get there first? And yes, sir. I think you will have to come a little further because there was no mics. So, what do you know about drones? What are drones? Can you elaborate? Drones, yeah, yes. See, drones are actually a bit of synonym for something called as remotely piloted aircraft system. It's also generally in a short form, it's called as RPAS, RPAS. Remotely piloted aircraft systems are sometimes also termed as unmanned aerial systems. So, what is the difference between an unmanned aircraft and an unmanned aerial system? Or what is the difference between a UAV and a UAS, unmanned aerial vehicle and an unmanned aerial system? What is the difference? An unmanned aerial vehicle is just a vehicle which is flying or a flying platform. But whereas an unmanned aerial system contains of a UAV and also it will have so many other systems like it can include the ground station where the pilot monitors control from the external pilot, whatever it is a complete system. Unmanned aerial system is system, but whereas a UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, is just a vehicle. Uh, now, there are different classes and categories of unmanned aerial vehicles. If you know, India is one of the country which has the best regulations as of today for unmanned aircraft systems. Uh, Only India and US has a proper regulatory requirement for unmanned aerial systems. And in US, it is you just take up two online exams, either Part 103 or Part 107, for either becoming a hobby pilot or a professional pilot, and you get the license to fly. But whereas in India, it is lot more elaborate. You have to attend the ground classes. You have to learn the regulations. You have to take a written exam. Then you will have to go through simulator training. You have to get the simulator checks cleared, and then you have to go through the flight training. You have to clear the flight checks, and then only you will be issued the license to fly. So it is a lot more elaborate, but still again it's just a 5 day program to get a license in India. So I think in your posters they have mentioned. I'm very sorry, I'm not a DRDO scientist. We have worked with DRDO quite a lot of times. I saw that poster and I think it was little late for me to inform about that. We have worked with DRDO, but I am not a DRDO scientist. But we have assisted them in various projects for various unmanned vehicle systems. We run uh, Drone Training Institute at Mysore, and we are one of the very few institutes in the country who are authorized to issue remote pilot licenses or remote pilot certificates for drones which weigh up to 150 kgs. There are very few institutes in the country who are certified for this. There are, as of today, approximately around 152 institutes are there in the country. Most of them are certified to issue certificates or licenses for drones weighing not more than 25 kgs, which come under small class. We are one of the very few institutes who are certified for 150 kg class. So you need to understand what is it requires to become a pilot. So first thing, age criteria. You should be at least 18 years old to be able to get a drone pilot license, and it should not be more than 65 years at the time when you apply for the license. So 18 to 65 years is the age qualification or age limitation. And educational qualification, you need to have minimum 10th standard if you want to become a pilot. But if you want to become an instructor, you should have any valid degree. That is the educational qualification required. And you should clear uh, class 3 or equivalent medical requirement. So you will have to get a medical test done, which are either class 3 or equal. And then you should have a valid Aadhaar. And passport was mandatory till last September. Now government has relaxed the requirement of passport. Now you can, instead of passport, you can either use a driving license or voter ID card or ration card as one of the proofs apart from passport. So these are the documentational requirements, and then you have to undergo 2 days of ground training classes, wherein you will be taught about the regulations and what you can do, what you cannot do, and then how to operate drones in Indian space legally, and then post that you will take up a written exam. You will have to pass the written exam with 70% passing marks, and post that you will be taken through again a ground session, which we brief you about something called a digital sky platform. We'll come to that little later. A digital sky platform is a portal built by DGCA in order to bring the entire drone ecosystem together. And post that, you will be going through a class called lab session, wherein you will be taught how to do basic maintenance of the drone. Because why you are taught only to do basic maintenance and not in detail? Because as a pilot, you can only do certain basic maintenance tasks, because the drones that you are going to fly, all of them will be type certified drones, and you are not allowed to make any major changes in the drone without written permission from Directorate General of Civil Aviation. If you make any major changes in the drone, it is going to be a violation of type certification. So, because of that, you are not allowed to do any kind of major changes. You are not even allowed to replace a motor. You have to send it to the manufacturer, and manufacturer will have to replace the motor and send it back. So, if you go to Digital Sky website, here do we have internet connectivity? NITK?
Okay, 16 only. ITK scabs. Everything is scabs. K one. 2K16. It should be verification page.
Sorry.
There will be another verification page. Just continuous open it. Just, just update it.
Okay. So this is the digital scale portal which has been created by DDCA for integrating the drone ecosystem. Now, if you go here, if you scroll it down on this thing, here you see something called as Drone Rules 2021. So we just got the complete listing of the regulations, drone regulations, what is there, and what you can do, what you cannot do, what is legal, what is not illegal, or how you can operate. The entire information here is there here. First few pages are in Hindi and then it is there in English. Uh, Even when it is in English, you can actually go through this. There are definitions and uh, abbreviations and so many things are there. And then the actual regulations start. So what I recommend is you download this Drone Rules 2021 and go through this in detail. So this explains about how the categorization is done, how the classification is done, and who are exempted from piloting, who is required to have a type certificate for the drone. So everything is listed here. Uh, Now, for example, aircrafts are categorized as unmanned aircrafts are categorized as rotorcrafts, fixed wings, and hybrid. So basically, rotorcraft is something that has a rotary wing, which is nothing but a propeller and takes off and land vertically. And a fixed wing aircraft is a pure fixed wing aircraft which will require runway to take off and land. And the third one is hybrid, which is mixture of both, which can take off vertically and land vertically and fly like a fixed wing. So this is the uh, categorization, and classification is based on the weight. So 0 to 250 grams, it's called nano. 250 grams to 2 kgs, it's called micro. 2 kgs to 25 kg will be small. 25 kg to 150 kg is called medium. 150 to 500 kg is called large. Beyond 500 kgs, aircraft rules 1934 apply. Drone rules does not apply. So, depending on the weight category or weight classification of your drone that you are going to build, you are all engineering students. Maybe you will get involved in drone R&D. So, based on what is the classification of the drone you are going to build, the pilot who is going to fly those drones will have to have the respective classification license. A person with a small classification license cannot fly a medium class license. Same way around. A person with a medium class license cannot fly a drone with a small class. If a person has to be able to fly both medium and small, he has to have both small and medium license. So these things you need to know because you might get into some kind of training organizations, get your license, whatever it is. Now, for you know what is a type certification? Okay. Most of you have seen a car, any car. For example, some Maruti Swift. If that car has to be sold for use in Indian roads, there is a body called Automotive Regulatory Authority of India. they have to certify the car saying that it is roadworthy. Then only Maruti Suzuki company can sell that aircraft on for Indian roads, and they can be registered in RTO of Indian RTO, ARAI, Automotive Regulatory Authority of India. In the same way, if any drones needs to be sold for flying in Indian airspace, they have to be type certified by DGCA, Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Now, the entire process of type certification has been given to agency called Quality Council of India, which is a central government body. Now, Quality Council of India has identified five certification bodies, and Quality Council of India has given the responsibility of conducting the audits and preparing the complete documentation for the drone that needs to be sold in Indian airspace, and prepare a report and submit it to DGC under the observation of Quality Council of India. So these five certification bodies will conduct the audits. For example, if you are a manufacturer of drone, so let me take it in little detail here. So if you are a manufacturer of drone, so what are you going to do is here you you have to apply for type certification with form D1 on the right hand side. So once you apply that application for type certification, the application will go to Quality Council of India. Now either the QCI will assign the certification body, or you can choose which certification body you want to do it. Now based on that, the certificate, yes sir. I'll come to that. I'll come to that. We are talking about type certification. Let's complete the type certification and then I'll come to that. So either you can choose the certification body, or the QCA will assign if you don't choose. And once the certification body is chosen, you will fill a document called CRM document, and then submit it to the certification body. Now, what does the CRM document contain? The details are here. Details are there in the Gazette notification that has been published. So, this is the template of CRM document. First 125 pages are in Hindi, and then there is a lot of description. So, this is actually the template of the CRM document. Okay, so this has got total 10 classes. So you have to meet all the 10 classes for you to be able to get your room type. So once you fill in and give the proof for all the 10 classes and you submit it to certification body, first certification body will assess and accept your application. If it is accepted, then there will be a stage 1 audit. Stage 1 audit contains verification of all the documentation that you have provided, and once all the documents are properly verified and accepted and cleared by the certification body, then you will go for stage 2 audit. In stage 2 audit, the auditors from certification body will physically come to your manufacturing facility. They will physically verify the aircraft and the equipment along with that, and then generate a report based on that and submit it to DGCA. Based on the certification body's report, DGCA will raise any query if any, and you will have to, as a manufacturer, you have to answer that queries. And if DGCA is satisfied with that, they will issue type certification. Now, to fly any drones in Indian airspace commercially, you need to have type certification on your drone, and you have to register your drone. So very similarly, when you buy a car, your car goes to an RTO office and the registration number is issued, and you will fit a number plate on the car with the registration number. Exactly same thing for the drone. You purchase a drone which is type certified on Digital Sky. You apply for registration, form D2. So apply with form D2 and you have to pay 100 rupees fees, and a registration number will be issued. That registration number is called UIN, Unique Identification Number for the drone. And you have to make a fireproof number plate with that UIN and attach it onto your drone. Without that number plate, it is illegal to fly. Without having the registration number, without having a license to fly, if you fly the drone, this is Drone Rules 2021 which I have opened. I am going to go to Rule 50. Please read the rules 5. Can you guys read? So if somebody complains to DGCA that you have been flying without a license or without registration, you will be first issued a notice. You will be asked to come and give an explanation why you did that. If the explanation that you give, if DGCA finds it is not satisfactory, they can fine you up to 1 lakh rupees. Every time you pay 1 lakh rupee today doesn't give you an opportunity to fly without license tomorrow. Tomorrow, if you get caught, you will have to pay 1 lakh rupees again. Next. So, when you operate, please operate knowing these things and where you can operate. Can you operate the drone anywhere? The entire Indian airspace has been divided into three basic zones: red zone, yellow zone, and green zones. Red zones are technically no drone zone, that is, you cannot fly the drones. Green zones are the zones where you can fly the drone. Yellow zones are the drones or zones where you need permission from nearest air traffic control. Now, red zones, depending on who is the owner of the red zone, you will have to take the clearance from the respective ministry as well as the owner of the property. For example, if the red zone belongs to an airport, then you have to take a clearance from Ministry of Civil Aviation as well as the operator slash owner of that airport, and also you have to take the clearance from Airport Authority of India. Where you are sitting today or where we are going to give you a demonstration of flying tomorrow, it is in yellow zone, outer yellow zone. So there are two steps in yellow zones. One is called inner yellow zone and one is outer yellow zone. So if there is any airport 5 kilometers from the perimeter of the airport, that is from the compound wall of the airport, it is considered to be red zone. You cannot fly any drone there. If you want to fly the drone, you have to take clearance from Ministry of Civil Aviation, you have to take clearance from Airport Authority of India, and you have to take clearance from ATC. Between 5 to 8 kilometers, it is called inner yellow zone. To fly in inner yellow zone, you don't need clearance from Ministry of Civil Aviation or Airport Authority of India, but you have to take permission from air traffic controller. You have to coordinate with air traffic controller and you have to fly. And then from 8 to 12 kilometers from the perimeter, it is called outer yellow zone. In outer yellow zone, up to 200 feet from the ground is considered to be green zone. Beyond 200 feet is yellow zone. But nevertheless, when you fly in an inner yellow zone, you have to intimate the nearest ATC. Beyond 12 kilometers from the airport, it is considered to be green zone. Nevertheless, you are allowed to fly to a height of maximum 400 feet AGL above ground level. Beyond 400 feet is yellow zone. You have to take clearance from the nearest airport if you want to fly beyond 400 feet. Now, whenever you approach any government organization for any kind of clearance, you will be asked to produce the documents of the drone. You will be asked to produce your license to fly. So you will have to produce those things. Yesterday I sent an email for your demonstration, which will happen tomorrow, to Mangalore Airport as an intimation to them. So we had to write the details of the place where we are going to fly, the license numbers of all the pilots that we are going to be flying. So including all those details, we have to send them an intimation. Without that, if we operate, it is going to be illegal. Under Rule 50, we can be penalized up to 1 lakh rupees. And then now coming to the question what he asked. So the question that you asked, what about the drones that we build internally? Please read Rule 42 carefully. Unmanned aircraft system operation for research, development and testing. The following person shall not require type certification, UIN, prior permission and remote pilot license for operating unmanned aircraft systems for research, development and testing purposes only. Any research and development entity under the administrative control of or recognized by central government or state government or union territory. Only these people are eligible to do that. Or any educational institution under administrative control or recognized by central government, state government or union territory. So private colleges does not come under this, right? Any startups recognized by Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, that is any MSME registered companies can will be eligible for testing and R&D. Any authorized testing entity meaning any accredited lab, NABL accredited labs, and any unmanned aircraft system manufacturer having goods and service tax number, that is any company which is registered as a manufacturer of an unmanned aircraft system having a valid GST registration. Only these people are exempt from all this. Nevertheless, if you are a private entity and do not meet any of this, you can still operate the drones which you are going to develop. So how are you going to do that? If you go to Digital Sky, there is something called as UN form for D2. UN form D2 for model and nano UAS. So what is a model UAS? Model UAS. Model UAS is any aircraft that is meant for research and development or recreational purpose only, can be registered as model RPAS provided that does not weigh more than 25 kgs. So up to 25 kgs you can register it as a model RPAS and you will get a UIN. You don't need a type certification for model. Now you can get a UIN registration number and you will fix the number plate on the road and fly. Now note, you are not exempted from license for this. You need to have license to fly. and you need to follow all safety protocols. You need to see whether you are flying in a green zone, red zone, yellow zone, and if required, take the respective permissions. Then only you are allowed to fly. Any deviation from that, rule 50, refer rule 50. Yes, say again, say again. Correct. So let me show you how it is. So how do you know the place where you are in, whether it is a red zone, yellow zone, or a green zone? So in the Digital Sky portal, they have made something called as interactive airspace map. So if you click this, it is going to open up a page like this, which is powered by Map My India, and then you can select different types of red zones here. State identified red zones, airport red zones, airport yellow zones, airport outer yellow zones, international boundary red zones, just normal red zones, and temporary red zones. With all these things, now you have an Indian map with the red zones and yellow zones identified here, right? So now let us see where. So this is your coordinates. So if I type the coordinates, if I put the coordinates here and search, this is where we are. See, you are in outer yellow zone. These are the red zone. This is the airport. This is airport red zone. And this is inner yellow zone. This is outer yellow zone. And you are touching the green zone. Okay. From seashore up to 25 kilometers from red zone. That's where. Say again? Yes, of course. If you see here, there are quite a lot of red zones. So, what is this red zone? So, if you see, if you double click on that red zone, so if there are any information available for that, it will be displayed here, or you can take this reference number DSR zone 03030, sorry, DSR zone 0003096. You can refer this number and inquire with Airport Authority of India. For you, the best email address is apd_mangalore@ai.in. That will be the email. You can send them an email; they'll respond. So this particular red zone, it says start date is from 24th September 2021, and this zone has been marked as a red zone till 24th September 2026. So the owner of the red zone will have to contact DGCA if they have to update or extend this red zone past 24th September 2026. And here, see, it is overlapping with airport yellow zone. So By opening interactive airspace map, you will be able to see where you are flying and find out whether it is a red zone or yellow zone, green zone, and take necessary steps to get the necessary clearances. For example, here, so if it is airport red, then you will take clearance from Ministry of Civil Aviation and Airport Authority of India. What if it is a red zone identified due to some defense establishment? Then you will take clearance from Ministry of Defense, MOD. Any other red zone, you have to take clearance from Ministry of Home Affairs and also the owner of that particular property. Then only you are allowed legally to operate. So when you design a drone or your engineering students will probably want to make a drone with some capability. So how do you make sure that you productize it? So make it a product. So in your design process itself, make sure that you cater for all the classes that are there in the type certification. There are various classes, 10 classes are there, each class talks about different things. For example, class 3.1 talks about any IC engines or turbines that are used in the drone. Class 3.2, 3.3 talk about other type of electric power plant. Class 7 talks about software that goes into the autopilot. Class 8 talks about 7.2 talks about the hardware security, that is autopilot and all these things. Class 6 talks about command communication and control, C3 link. So like that, every class has its own topic. So go through that in detail and make sure that your system actually complies with that. Then getting it type certified will become very easy. If you want to make it a product, the role that you do. So there is a very strict directive by QCI just 2 weeks ago that whenever you apply for a type certification of any of the drones as a manufacturer, you have to give them a bill of material list with country of origin. Where did the item came from? Because what QCI observed recently is most of the components that are being used in the drone industry today are coming from China. So, in order to promote indigenous manufacturing, QCA has now made it mandatory to specify country of origin in the bill of materials that you submit to QCA for type certification. It is not that Chinese drones are not allowed. See, uh, you cannot import a complete drone as a whole. It's banned. But you can import parts and assemble it. And as of today, if you see most of the manufacturers, maybe very few exceptions, most of the components, majority of the components are Chinese origin. Uh, don't we have an alternate for some UA units? Yes. For some units, no. Do you have an alternate for lithium-ion batteries or lithium polymer batteries? Can it come anywhere other than China or North America? They are all illegal equipment. Huh? I told you about registration and UIN just few minutes ago. If you want to operate any drone commercially, you need to have a registration number. Point number one. UIN is required. Any drone that you register as a model or pass to get a registration number, you cannot use it for any commercial. DJI drones mostly is Mavic comes under Nano, so no type certification required, no license to required to fly up to 15 meters height only. Beyond that, all regulations apply. Other DJI drones like Phantom or something like that, uh, you can register it as a model aircraft because they are not type certified. But once you register it as model aircraft, technically you cannot use it for commercial purpose. You can use it only for research development and recreational purpose. So if somebody is using it for commercial purpose, ideally it should be treated illegal, right? So in technical terms, it would be illegal. But whether the regulators take any action or not is left to them. Police can always come and ask them where is your registration, where is your type certification, where is your license to play. Local authorities are empowered to do that. But as of today, what is happening? Lack of awareness of these things to the local law enforcement authorities is actually preventing these things from happening. But eventually, there will be awareness, and there will things will start to turn in a different direction. But as of today, even though you know that it is illegal, if you try to operate it, I would say it's a crime. You shouldn't be doing anything illegal in spite of knowing that it is illegal. If you do something illegal without knowing that it is illegal, then probably it can be excused first time. But beyond that, it's a crime, right? So that is about the type certification of drones. So once you apply for type certification of drones, the audit will happen in stage one and stage two. Various auditors will come to you and they will conduct the audit and then submit the report. And DGCA will issue the type certification based on their reports. So I am one of the auditors for the one of the CB. So there is a certification body called SGS India. So I will be I am an audit appointed auditor for SGS for type certification of drones. And digital sky. Now there is in September on September 27th, 2024, DGCA released a drone training circular saying that passports are not mandatory anymore for people who get pilot license for drones. Post that, people who do not have passport, they are being issued something called as offline license. Offline license is a paper license which is printed on a paper, and the training institute's head will sign and seal on that, and the information of that license will be sent to DGCA every week, and once in a while DGCA will update the list in their website and publish it in a PDF file. That is about offline. But if you have passport, you will be issued an online license. So online licenses are, once you get an online license, it is going to look something like this. So this is my profile. So profile is going to look like this. You can view your license here. All your instructor ratings, everything will be available here, and you can download the PDF file, and you can associate you can send or receive associations to any other organizations, and if you want to purchase a drone or lease a drone, or if you want to apply for instructor rating, you can do this online. And here, if you have an online license, when you want to fly at some point, you can technically, if you own the drone, you can apply for permission online. You can submit a flight plan, and the flight plan will be approved online. So these are the advantages. Here you can, uh, in my pilot profile, I don't have any drones in my this thing. So this is how you will get a pilot license if you have an online, if you can get an online account. To be able to get an online account, you need a valid passport. Now, apart from this, as a training institute, ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ. ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. Okay, I log in from our. So when you log into your training institute, you will have a different view. It will be somewhat like this. So you will have the pilots that are there with you, and you can see what drones you have with you. So these are the drones that we have registered in our name. So you will get the list of the drones. So these are the drones that we want by lease. So like that, there are quite a lot of things that you get to know as and when you start operating the digital sky. But when you get your license, this is actually one of the classroom sessions to learn about digital sky. So you will be taught how to use this. So yeah, apart from this, let us go little technical. So we mentioned about categorization of drones, rotorcraft, fixed wing, and hybrid. So what is a rotorcraft?
It uses the feathers for channeling its motion.
A rotorcraft is basically a type of aircraft which will generate the lift by using a rotating wing, a wing that rotates. Actually, if you see the propeller is actually nothing but a wing which is rotating, and that's the reason why mostly rotary wings are rotorcrafts are also termed as rotary wing aircraft. Now, can you consider a helicopter as a rotorcraft? Helicopter. So now let us say you get a license to fly a rotorcraft. Are you allowed to fly a helicopter? Technically, yes. But remember, uh, flying a drone with an autopilot is way different than flying uh, any rotorcraft without an autopilot. Just manual. It's way too different. It's very different. Yes. License. Okay, you will be given the license for rotorcraft RPAS, remotely piloted aircraft system, not for remotely piloted aircraft vehicle. So, by definition of DGCA, remotely piloted aircraft system will have to carry an autopilot in it. So, if you take a helicopter without an autopilot and you say you want to fly that, it does not come under rotorcraft RPAS. It comes under aero modeling. Aero modeling is different from drone flying. Aero modeling is considered as a hobby, but whereas drone flying is considered as a professional engagement. Now, okay, two more things before we get little more anything into this. Uh, there are two categories of license, Cat 1 and Cat 2. As of today, no institutes are certified to issue category 2 license. Everybody is certified to issue only category 1 license. So what is category 1 license? Category 1 license allows the pilot to fly within visual line of sight. VLOS. So what are the limitations of VLOS? Is it? And okay. Sometime in 2000, between 2016 to 2018, there was something called civil aviation regulations which was released. Civil aviation regulations for drones. They are called as CAR. In that, they had mentioned to be able to fly a drone or an RPAS, VMC should be met. VMC is visual meteorological condition, and you cannot fly beyond 500 meters horizontal and 400 feet AGL. That was considered visual line of sight. Now, what is VMC? Visual meteorological condition. To be able to meet visual meteorological condition, it should be between sunrise to sunset. That means you cannot fly beyond sunset. And ground visibility will have to be at least 5,000 meters. That is, you if you stand on the ground, you should be able to see an object that is 5 kilometers away. And cloud ceiling not below 1,500 feet. That was what is called as VMC. Now, with implementation of Drone Rules 2021, CAR has been superseded. So, what DGCA says, those rules do not apply, but it is good to follow. But if you see the Gazette notification for type certification, The definition for visual line of sight is given there. Definition of visual line of sight according to the type certification, it says till a person can identify the orientation of the air with or without an assistant or called as an observer. There are other regulations for observer. Let us not go in detail with that. We'll anyway learn when you get your RPC. So this is the current definition of VLOS according to type certification standards. Now earlier they said you cannot fly beyond sunset, but if your drone is certified for night flying and on your RPC if you have night flying experience, you can fly the drone. But for that, the drone has to be type certified for night flying. If your drone is not type certified for night flying and if you do a night flying on that drone, it will be illegal. So there are lighting requirements for the drone. Left side, it has to follow the aviation standard, portrait, starboard green, and the visibility has to be minimum 115 degrees, and brightness has to be so many lumens. So all these requirements are there. It has to be met, and it has to be proved with the required documentation to the certification body at the time of type certification. So when your type certification is issued, it will be mentioned that your drone is certified for night flying. So if you guys are applying for any type certification, please apply realistic parameters. Because as an auditor, I have seen so many funny things happening. One manufacturer had claimed that their drone can give 4 kilometers range. It started doing an RTL at 800 meters. 800 meters, the drone started coming back saying that no radio. But again, the pilot climbed over a building and said, "We'll extend the range," and then a lot of circles happened. And then finally, they were able to demonstrate only 1.5 kilometers range. Then we asked them to rewrite the CRM document saying that drone only supports 1.5 kilometers range. So, write realistic data. Say again, provisions for attachments. You mean to say payload? Huh. So, see, when you get a type certification for a drone, the type certification is done including all the payload that you are going to carry. If you attach any other payload other than the certified payload, it would be a breach of type certification. Yes. Yes. You what camera you are going to attach and the technical details of the camera, again that camera will have to go through an audit. For example, an agricultural drone can only do agricultural operation. You cannot fit any other payload on that and fly. It would be a breach of type certificate if you fit any other payload. Yes, sir. You will have to speak a little louder. Huh. The aircraft that has a first person view, do you consider them as drones? No, they come under aero modeling. It is recreational purpose only. Unless you are using it for any kind of unmanned operations, then it will be classified under drones. Then a respective licenses would be required, because any drone that carries an FPV and is flown using FPV has to be considered under Cat 2, not under Cat 1. So as of today, there are no institutes in the country who are certified to issue Cat 2 licenses. There are a lot of people who have done BVLOS operations, but only under special exemptions. For example, we have done COVID vaccine delivery in Maharashtra. We have done about 100 plus hours of operations, and that was done under special exemption. So we were coordinating with the airport authority, and the airport authority had given us the routes and time, altitude to fly, and we strictly followed that. And we every time informed ATC every time we used to take off and land. So it was a controlled. It was in a controlled environment, and only very few people knew about this. And there are hardly any people who are actually capable of doing BVLOS in the country. See, so many people claim that they can do BVLOS operations, but BVLOS operations actually takes a lot more than doing a normal BVLOS operations. Considering what we have actually done, right? So uh, it actually takes a lot more coordination, lot more awareness. So many things are there. It requires a very good piloting skills, and I do not recommend you doing BVLOS operations with rotorcrafts. They are not built for that. Very inefficient for operations. Unless you have a very specific requirement of using a rotorcraft, I would not prefer using it. Fixed wings are far more efficient, and they can, for the same weight, they can fly almost three times the distance. But whereas rotorcrafts can, and rotorcrafts have limitation of height also. So in one of the these things associations with for DRDO and AD, we were developing uh, high-speed drones, fixed-wing drones. So we are capable of flying the drones at zero point 0.8 Mach speeds, that is close to 1000 kilometers per hour. So those kind of drones can be achieved only using fixed wings. Rotorcrafts cannot fly at those speeds. So to be able to handle the aircraft that flies at those speeds, you need uh, you need to be an experienced pilot. You need better skill. You need faster responses. At a speed of 1000 kilometers, the aircraft which is coming from 5 kilometers to go it beyond 5 kilometers, beyond your visual line of sight where you can't see the aircraft anymore, takes a couple of seconds. From 5 kilometers to 5 kilometers, it's hardly 2 3 seconds. Within 2 3 seconds, you lose the sight of aircraft. You can't control it anymore. So then you will rely on instrument flying. To be able to do instrument flying, you need a totally different skills. So which you will probably start to learn as and when you start handling it and doing the operations legally. Unless you start the operations legally, you are never going to learn how to do it legally. So my suggestion is get your license, become a certified pilot, start operating legally. That is when you will get to know how to operate it legally. Whatever talks we can give, anything, you will only have the basic idea, but nothing beyond that. So, coming back to some basic technology, rotorcraft. They are rotating propellers generating the lift, whereas a fixed wing aircraft generates the lift by having a fixed rigid body as a lifting surface. So the advantage of a rotorcraft is it can take off vertically and land vertically. Advantage of a fixed wing is it is very efficient. What is the disadvantage of rotorcraft? What is the disadvantage of fixed wing? Yeah. First thing is the ceiling height. Rotorcrafts cannot climb beyond certain altitude, but whereas fixed wings can fly at a very high altitude. Why is that? Right? See, the propellers are there. In the propeller, there is something called as the length of the propeller as well as the pitch of the propeller. So, what is the pitch of a propeller? Everybody might have seen a screw. So, when you put the bolt in a nut and rotate it one turn, what happens? The bolt will advance in the nut. How much will it advance? It is defined by the pitch of the screw. That is exactly what is pitch of a propeller. When you rotate the propeller, how much it is moving forward through the wind. It is the pitch of the propeller. Now, as and when you climb higher, as and when the density gets lower, how do you maintain thrust or required lift? What is the lift equation? L equals rho A by 2 into V square. Right? In that, what is rho? Density of air. As and when you climb high, density reduces. So, for the same given propeller, rotating at the same speed, your lift will reduce. So, how do you keep the lift from reducing? You have to either increase area or increase the velocity. How do you increase area? By using a bigger propeller, which you cannot do because propeller is fixed, size of the propeller is fixed. So, what else you can vary? Velocity. How do you vary the velocity? By increasing either the speed of the propeller rotation or by increasing the pitch of the propeller. Now, there is a limitation on how fast you can spin the propeller. Because if the tip of the propeller exceeds zero point 0.8 Mach, then the entire dynamics of the propellers will change. So, how do you make sure that you keep the propeller generating sufficient lift? The only option that is left is increasing the pitch. So, as and when you climb higher, you need propeller with higher and higher pitch. You will reach a point where the propeller will have something called as a high speed stall. It won't generate the lift anymore. So that is the limit. So that will be the ceiling. See, I can explain the pitch stall in a little different way. In case of a fixed wing, no. Uh, Let us say the propeller pitch is 1 meter. Let's just take an example, rough example. Propeller pitch is 1 meter, and let's say propeller is doing 100 revolutions per second. So how much the propeller is advancing in air per second? 100 meters per second. Now, when the aircraft starts to fly forward, the propeller is experiencing headwind. As and when the aircraft accelerates forward and starts to travel at a higher speed, the effective pitch of the propeller will start reducing. When the aircraft reaches 360 kilometers per hour, that is exactly 100 meters per second, the pitch of the propeller effectively is zero. That means the delta velocity that the propeller can create is zero. That means the thrust that the propeller is generating is zero. Now let's say for somehow you manage to accelerate the aircraft further beyond 360 kilometers per hour. Now what is happening? The pitch of the propeller, effective pitch of the propeller is becoming negative. Now the total thrust generated is becoming negative. Now the propeller, instead of generating thrust, it will start adding drag. It will start to slow down the aircraft. So these are the different limitations. When the propeller is, instead of on a fixed wing aircraft like this, you mount it vertically. Now the same thing happens. As and when the density reduces, there is a limitation for the pitch of the propeller and the speed of the propeller, beyond which the lift will become practically zero. Your aircraft cannot sustain flight anymore. So rotorcrafts have a limitation of height, very less height, but whereas fixed wings can reach great heights, 45,000 to 50,000 feet AGL. And but biggest advantage of rotorcraft, it can take off and land vertically. And biggest disadvantage of fixed wing is it requires a runway to take off and land. Now there is another categorization which is called hybrid, which is a combination of rotorcraft and fixed wing. Why don't simply everybody use it? It can take off vertically and land vertically and can fly like a fixed wing. So why not simply use it? Why do you need a rotorcraft? Why do you need a fixed wing aircraft? Right.
On the cost. Second, let's say, you want to achieve a certain top, let's say a certain speed or certain maybe if you're using your app specifically at the same way, but I'm using speedboat capability less, that actually give you a great speed. Then you use that for using.
To a great extent, you are right.